Trigger warning, this book talks about homophobia and bullying, so watch at your own risk. Thank you. Clap. Gay people are great people. That sort of rhymes. And you know what they say? If it rhymes, it's true all the time. The best type of anime is hentai. Oh my god. Don't listen to that last joke, kids, because today we're doing a kids book. One of my subscribers has requested me to read the Geography Club, and they have been so patient with me because they requested a book about a month ago and I still haven't done it. I'll do it, Jose, I promise. But today we're gonna do this one today, the same day he requested, because he's a loyal subscriber and I'm reliable. Don't listen to my failed Tinder dates. I'm reliable. So today I'm gonna read and talk about the Geography Club, written by Brent Hartinger. Apparently this is a young adult novel about a gay boy trying to find out his sexuality and find some sort of belonging in that, but it's supposed to be funny from what I hear. I'm very excited to read it because I have not yet read an LGBT work of fiction. Of course, I've read a few books of fiction that deal with LGBT issues and LGBT characters, but I've never really read a full LGBT book yet, and I need to, because I'm a proud supporter of the Trevor Project and Rainbow Gang all the way. With all that introduction set aside, I'm just gonna dive in. This book is 15 chapters, so I'll read the first 5 chapters, talk about that, then the next 5 chapters, talk about that, and the last 5 chapters and talk about the whole book. Alright, with that said, let us go! Here are my top 3 quotes from chapters 1 through 5. The fact is, there's a difference between being alone and being lonely. I may not have been completely alone in life, but I was definitely lonely. A conversation was like a child. You couldn't just abandon it, then pick it up again a day later and expect it to be exactly the way it was before. The painted wooden cutouts were all these horrible ethnic stereotypes of children of the world, but the rosy-cheeked Eskimo boy had it the worst. They pulled him off his base, kicked him in half, and knocked both pieces clean out of the garden. Alright, so I just read the first 5 chapters of this book, the first third, and I like it. It's cute, it's funny, it's somewhat real, and it's respectful when it gets serious. It reminds me a lot of Me, Earl, and the Dying Girl. I haven't read the book yet. Look at me, talking about a book that I haven't read yet. But I've seen the movie, and it kind of reminds me of how that movie used comedy about cancer but still talked about its serious effects, in the same way that this book is using comedy to talk about the shame that is carried through homosexuality in a high school setting. I'm liking the characters. I was afraid that the characters would be a little too one-dimensional, and they're not the most complex characters in the world. The universe, the setting is built up okay, decently, not greatly. But from what I'm seeing, everything's acceptable. I don't have many serious complaints about it. So let me just read the second 5 chapters and I'll get back to you on it. Here are my 3 favorite quotes from chapters 5 through 10. The funny thing was, suddenly I wasn't nervous anymore. I don't know if it was what they had said, or if I was finally just sick and tired of feeling so alone. In any event, I stepped up and kissed them. In the close confines of their arms, it felt like I had stepped right up into the stars themselves, like I had become one with the sky, and that together we were as clean and pure and wide as the universe itself. My mom, she doesn't get really drunk that often, but when she does, she tells everyone she's sick. I think sometimes she even believes it. I guess because sometimes she is sick, and I always have to clean it up. People are always talking about their families, how they all went out to Chuck E. Cheese for pizza, or how they just got back from their latest trip to Disneyland. The whole world has to tell me over and over again how normal they are, and how different they are from me. And I have to just sit there and listen, because no one wants to hear the truth. That my family has never been to Disneyland and will never go. So I know what you mean when you talk about people shoving something in your face, and I know what it's like to have to hide. I felt the strange sense of camaraderie. It was as if I'd never even been in this locker room before, as if all my life I'd been dressing and undressing in the cold hallway outside, only overhearing little bits of the conversation. But now my membership had been accepted, and I'd been welcome inside. Plus, there was full frontal male nudity. Alright, so I just finished the second act, chapters 5 through 10, or 6 through 10, and I showered, because if you could smell through me, I smelled very bad then, so I don't know why I'm talking about this. I should be talking about the book. Okay, so for the second act of the book, my thoughts on that, I like it. It's once again cute, it's written pretty funnily. I did laugh at some pages. I laugh like this. Haha, and it's fun. It does feel like I've read a lot of books similar to this. Similar in the sense of just, the tone of this book is very similar to the tone of an average young adult book. If I'm gonna be blunt, it's good, it's not great. It's good, it gets really good at times, but I've never been moved to the point where it is great. The first 5 chapters did a good job of building up the exposition, and then the second act went along with it and didn't have to build up any more fillers, so the pacing's good. It does have some nice moments of depth sometimes. The quote that I highlighted in chapter 9 is definitely the deepest quote that I found in this book. So kudos to that. Awesome. As a work of fiction, it's very enjoyable. So I think I've said enough. I'll have more concise thoughts when I finish the book, when I've written it out. So far, I'm liking it a lot. I wouldn't say I'm loving it, but I think this is a very good first LGBT book for me, because it really gets me into the genre, and I know that I can go up from here, and I know that I can go down from here, so this is a nice middle-of-the-road book. Okay, let's finish up the last 5 chapters, and let me give you my final thoughts. Here are my top 3 quotes from chapters 11 to the epilogue. You can't care what people think. You'll go crazy. You gotta save your energy when people really do stuff. People make mistakes. If there was no such thing as forgiveness, there wouldn't be any friendships left in the world. Wherever we ended up, we'd be there together. And I now knew that even the ugliest place in the world can be wonderful if you're there with good friends. Just like the most fabulous destination on Earth is pretty boring when you're all alone. Alright, I just finished it. My heart thingamajig is doing some feels. Let me calm this heart down, and let me get to the review soon. Review now. Alright, I'm back. I spent a few minutes just brainstorming a little bit of the pros and cons to organize my thoughts. I think I'm ready to talk about Geography Club, written by Brent Hartinger. Let me start with the pros real quick. The first pro that I have is that this book is entertaining. The humorous parts were humorous enough for anyone of any age group to chuckle at or laugh at, so this book was good at being funny, and when it came to the parts where he hits you in the feels... Hold on one second. Just thought of something. Look in the camera, let me see. I like it. I thought it was very entertaining. It was very funny at times, it was very heartfelt at times, and I didn't have a problem with any of the characters, which surprised me. Most young adult books that are short tend to write characters too thin, but I feel like every character in here played a specific role and a purpose, so props to Brent Hartinger for that. Good job on him for that. So that was a very good plus. I think if anyone picks up this book, it won't take them long to finish it, and they'll smile, and they'll definitely feel something while reading this. Now, the second pro that I have is that its pacing is very organized. I noticed while looking at the About the Author page that Brent Hartinger is also a playwright, and that makes a lot of sense because each 5 chapters does feel like a solid Act 1, a solid Act 2, and a solid Act 3. The first 5 chapters is a good exposition and rising plot, then the second 5 chapters works within that exposition to make the plot more interesting, and then the last act brings the climax and the resolution down. So it was very organizedly placed, and I felt like I was reading pretty much a script to a play based on these 3-act plots. So good job on Brent Hartinger for that. And last and most importantly, my biggest pro about this is that this book is Is my mic recording? It is. And the last and biggest pro about this book is that I think it is super duper brave. I believe it was published in 2004, and how I like to judge how timely an LGBTQ book is just looking at when it was published and comparing it into when DOMA, the Defense of Marriage Act, was signed and when it was revoked. It was signed in 1996, this book came out in 2004, and DOMA was deemed unconstitutional in 2015. So if I think about the math, this book came out in 2004, which is 8 years before DOMA was signed, and 11 years before DOMA was unconstitutional. So it was closer to the time when DOMA was signed, and that was when most of America was homophobic, or most of America was intolerant of the LGBTQ. Like, even Democrats like Joe Biden and Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton were very much opposed to gay marriage back then. So this book in 2004 was closer towards that time, to where in 2015, where in writing, same-sex marriage is legal and theoretically accepted. So For the fact that he wrote this book in 2004 was nice, was very nice. He clearly had a good moral compass instead of what he believed in back then, and I'm not entirely sure if his opinion was in the majority. He's from Washington, that's a relatively blue state, so I don't know. I was 7 years old in 2004. But those are my pros, and I will have to talk about my cons, because I do believe there are a few. My first con, and obviously, is that this book is a casually written young adult literature book. Now, I know I said in my top 10 videos that I love YA, and I love a lot, and I feel like some very good YAs can be better than most classics and should be considered as classics, but as for this one, I feel like its style of writing wasn't anything out of the ordinary. I liked a good bit of it, I liked a lot of it, but I couldn't find much of anything great. There was nothing really to analyze beyond what was given to me. I couldn't find many quotes to highlight, to ponder over. If I would have to compare at what level of a writer I think Brent Hartinger was, let me see if I can find these books. I would say he's better than Stephenie Meyer's Twilight. He's a better writer than the Twilight books. Not really that hard to accomplish. But I wouldn't say he's a better writer than Paper Towns by John Green, which personally is my least favorite book by John Green. So it's somewhere in between, a little better than Stephenie Meyer, not as good as John Green at his personal worst. So a slightly above middle for me. And that's my con for me when it comes to the style of writing. Now, I had one con with the plot, and my main issue with the plot was the second act, the middle 5 chapters. If you've read like 5 YA books, I'm sure you can find a lot of these middle plot points very predictable, and the writing tended to be dry. I felt like there were a few unnecessary paragraphs I didn't need to read. I remember skimming through pages and then being like, wait, I shouldn't skim, I should read it again because I'm going to do a book review on it. And then after reading it, I'm like, I could have just skimmed it. I don't believe every word in here is important or necessary, so I do believe that the middle section could have upped its game. I believe the book started off strong with its first act. It was very funny and very welcoming. And then the last act was super strong in that it was very heartfelt and very heart-wrenching at times. And the middle 5 chapters tended to be a weird, awkward mix of both that didn't live up to the quality of the first and third act. But that's just me. And overall, I think this book is very good when it comes to its target audience. If you're a young teenager that identifies with the LGBTQ+, I would absolutely recommend you to pick this up. It's very funny, it's very entertaining, and you'll enjoy it, and you might find some comfort in it to know that you're not alone, because I believe that's the key theme that this book is trying to drive home. I would even recommend this to anyone, even adults, who are still on the fence about anything LGBTQ related, or this is more substance to show what the young youth, or what the young LGBT youth have to go through to just survive, or have some sense of sanity. But as for me, someone who actively supports the LGBTQ and is completely proud and willing to do almost everything and anything to make y'all feel welcome and accepted and loved in any society or environment. This book personally didn't show me much of anything that I haven't known, but it gave me a good story nonetheless. So yeah, that's pretty much how I think about it. I liked it a lot, great story, didn't personally love it, but it was a very good start for the first LGBTQ book I read. So I'll always have a soft spot for this. If I were to give the Geography Club a rating, I would give it a C+. Alright, that's my honest review of the Geography Club. Man, I really love doing this. I'm gonna make this a constant series. I feel like as someone who wants to donate a large sum to the Trevor Project, I should continue this series. Hopefully when I monetize, I would love to give like a fraction of what I earn to this charity. So let me keep reading LGBTQ books. So if you subscribe, it's for a good cause. So subscribe and like this video. Comment any other LGBTQ+ book I should read because I will read it. Comment any other book I'll read because I'll read everything at this point. Alright guys, this was fun. Like I said, if you liked the video, give it a like. If you have any requests I want to read, comment below. And if you want to be updated on these book reviews, feel free to hit that subscribe button and ring the book for notifications. Well, this is going to be a fun series. Let's keep it going. Until then, I'm out. Peace.